All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link will be in the description box below. Um, let's talk child support. I had to think about it, but let's dive into this discussion. There are things that men don't like about child support, and there are things that seem to men and women seem to agree upon with child support. There are things that women don't like about child support. One of the things that people agree on is you need to take care of your child. You know, that takes money. So you need to spend money, earn money to do what it takes to take care of your child. Now, what people differ is the amount of money you should spend or where the money is actually allocated to. Um, Depending on how much you are, if you're on child support, depending on how much you're spending, you have. If you have a kid and you put the kid in daycare, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, unless you're, I would say, $600 and up a month, then that will cover half of a month's daycare and say diapers and stuff like that. Like before that kid hits kindergarten, if you're paying anywhere between the $600 to $800 range, six to and less, you know their mother might actually be in the hole. I'm just being honest with you. If she has to pay for daycare on a regular basis. Now, from 5 years old up, um, that 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 child should be taken care of. There's no way around that. When you talk about food, that should be covered. Clothes, that should be covered. Expenses like field trips and stuff like that, that should be covered. So, for people who want to act like no amount is enough, no, you're lying. You know, sometimes people, like I said, get mad at the allocation of funds, the overspending, because sometimes you got parents who purposely shortchange their children and expect everybody else to foot the bill. And a lot of times we don't talk about that. If you're, it's one thing for family to help and chip in and do what normal families do. It's another thing for your family to be more involved than you are, but you're collecting but you're collecting money and not handling your business as a parent and dumping off your responsibility on another person. Uh, that's ridiculous because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. There's a lot of women who are getting child support whose parents may be taking care of their child, but they never give their parents any money. They never probably buy their parents any gifts for Christmas or birthdays, maybe Mother's Day, maybe Father's Day, but they're not looking out for the parents the same way the parents are looking out for them and their child. So that money, in some ways, is a waste. You know, and some people are on government assistance. But you people on government assistance, people look at you funny because, in all honesty, if you need government assistance, that means you can't take care of yourself. So there are far too many people who are collecting child support who still aren't taking care of themselves. If you need Section 8 housing, you're not taking care of yourself. If you need, WIC or what do you call that? Uh, Daycare assistance and light and gas assistance, then in some ways you're not actually capable of taking care of yourself. So why continue to hold a child in your situation? Now, if you have the better situation between you and the child's father, even under those circumstances, by all means, I get it. But if you don't, it doesn't make sense. You know, you're getting all this help from everybody, and you still not taking and you still um, doing bad because you have to live at a certain income level to qualify for that stuff too. It's not just that you have but you have kids. You have to make a certain amount of money, and if you go over that amount, you don't qualify anymore. So there are a lot of people on assistance that are not trying to do better with their lives because if they do better, they don't want to have to pay to actually be an adult. So it's another thing about it. Going to the child support part of allocating funds, like how many people are already gonna know when in general when people look at child support, it's a general assumption that the mother is mismanaging the money, is spending it on more things that don't have to do with the child than that do. I need a car, so this car note and child support don't go together. You know, you gotta pay the light bill, child support don't go together. Oh, the baby need, um, how can I say, the baby needs gas, the baby needs cable. That doesn't go together. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's one thing if you actually took care of the kid first and then used the extra money left over to pay bills and a car note and stuff like that. But most people know this to be a fact that child support comes, these women spend the child support on themselves first, second, and then everybody else comes last. But nobody wants to talk about that. And that's why I said let's talk child support. You know, it's a it's a difficult situation because people don't want to live in a reality. They don't want to say, this person is using the system or using child support as an excuse to be a horrible parent or to be a shopaholic or to be um, selfish enough to just splurge on yourself bi-weekly or monthly or whatever. So, when nobody really addresses this, the problems get worse because a lot of times when people look at the children and nobody gets the fact that, these kids are not really getting taken care of. And I'm going to tell you, and this is a dead giveaway. When, when you got joint custody, the children are with the other parent at a certain amount of time. Now, if it's joint custody, as in they switch households, child support is very small, very low. But if it's like joint custody where the child goes like summers, holidays, spring break, stuff like that, when the child is with the other parent for 2 weeks, they still paying child support. And when the child is there for the summer, they're still paying child support. And now when these mothers receiving child support, even when their child isn't there, and they're just as irresponsible with their money as they were when the child was there, you already know it got nothing to do with the child, because if you're doing reckless spending when the child's there and you're receiving money and the child's not there, and you still receiving money when your child isn't there, and you still blowing that too, or you're not giving it back to the father when the child is with the father, so that money could be used for the actual child, that says a lot about you as a person. So that's why I said let's talk child support, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of nuances to it that people don't want to, that people may not know, and if they know, they try to skirt around and not pay attention to make themselves look good. But it's not as cut and dry as people think. We out.